So there's something that I'm seeing a lot. Now, this isn't a new thing. Nothing is ever new. If you've been watching this for a while, you know that nothing's ever new. It's always been done before. It's always happened before. But there's something that I have been coming across a lot lately, which is three mistakes that the newer version of like an entrepreneur takes. Okay, now this is all the people kind of starting, you're 6 months, 12 months, 24 months in. Realistically, even if you're 24 months into something, into entrepreneurship, you really don't understand who you are. You don't understand your business very well. Um, this stuff does take time. But I'm basically going to be breaking down the top three mistakes that I see, how to overcome it, and hopefully, if you can pass it quicker, yeah, you'll be able to break through these barriers quicker and get to your goals quicker. And that's the whole point. That's the whole purpose of me teaching this, is that if I can help you break through these barriers faster, you'll get to your goal faster. And yeah, hopefully, it just excels, uh, accelerates the pipeline. So if you're new to entrepreneurship, be wary you don't get caught in these things. Now, I've taught a lot of people. I'm not saying I'm at the top of my mountain, but I'm able to drag a couple people up the mountain with me as I'm going. If I learn new things, I like to teach other people. It solidifies it in my brain, and it also helps them do things, like achieve things. So, mistake one that I see is a lot of new entrepreneurs have shiny object syndrome. They'll go 1 week or 2 weeks, 6 months on this, one niche, one business. And I can give an example, right? People will do e-commerce, but they'll do e-commerce for 6 months. And then they'll do agency for 6 months. And then from there, they'll go and they'll start reselling for 6 months. These just examples off the top of my head. Now, all good as well. From what you have to understand is there's money in every single one of these niches, whether you like any of them have market for it. And that goes for like anything in life. You could look out the window. You could see glass, right? I mean, literal glazing glass, right? People have started a business, made millions of dollars doing that. People have also sold the screws, made millions doing that. People have also sold energy drinks, made millions with that. People have started agencies, made millions with that. People have started reselling shoes, made millions with that. People have started e-commerce and made millions with that. There is money in every single niche. So people come into this space and they go, cool, what's a good one for me to get into? They find something that piques their interest and then they go for it. They go, cool, let me jump into it. Great idea. Okay. But then about 3 to 6 months in, where they're actually starting to get some tangible, like some real skin in the game, I guess, some real times going in. They're on the curve of almost getting results, right? Maybe they haven't seen results up to that point, but on the curve of getting those results, they give up. And every single time you switch niche, these people always, or the new entrepreneur, somebody that's stuck in this, they get to that peak and they go, okay, yeah, now this thing's pumping. Okay, I'm going to do this. And then that goes, they get decent at it and they go, oh, this thing's going really well now. And they switch. They're probably on the actual edge of touching gold. And what I mean by touching gold is actually getting the result that they're after, achieving the goal. It's never as far as you think it is. But if you always quit at that curve, right? And there's an exponential curve, is why I've said curve. There's an exponential curve, is the way I got explained it, right? And people give up when they're about to get to depth of knowledge, which then gives them money. So always just choose one thing and stick with it. For me, in the beginning, I chose trading. Now, anyone that knows me personally knows I did not give up on trading and I put in a lot of hours. And I wanted to do other things. I did have in my mind shiny object syndrome, but I didn't let it overcome me, right? I vowed to basically not start or do anything else until I had successfully become profitable in trading. Now, I didn't care if it was $10. Maybe not $10, but I didn't care if it was $100,000 or if it was $100 million, right? Whatever. I was going to become profitable and very competent at a skill before I then switched. And now for me, that took me over 5 years of every single day sitting down for 10 hours plus, just sitting there. No parties, no nothing, right? And then from that point, in the past year and a half, I've then pivoted out because I'd been doing trading for 7 years. And, at that point, after being worn down for a long time, it was time for me personally to give it a rest and fulfill that promise that I gave to myself a long time ago, which was, okay, I've achieved competency in this skill. Now I can pivot to another skill that I really wanted to work on. And that's how I've kind of overcome my shiny object syndrome in a way. It's just like be competent in the skill. And once you're already good at it and you're already making money, then you can have a better decision. If you're not making money in something and you switch, you're never going to be good. So that's how I personally overcame mine. I waited till I was competent and I was making money in the skill, and then I made a logical decision. If I wanted to switch, for whatever reason, you can do that, but apply it to yourself. The second mistake I see is people trying to run off just pure motivation. They think that if they wake up every morning, they watch 10 minutes of some motivational content, they'll be G'd up for the whole day, every day, 365, right? For the next 30 years. No, that's not the case. Some people are born wanting it more than others. That's just the simple fact. And that doesn't mean you can't have it, but it's going to be a little bit harder for you. But that doesn't really matter. For me, I'm someone that's already motivated. I don't need the external motivation. I never really have. I'm in that lucky category of people, I guess, that just get up every day and kind of already very motivated without any external forces. But if you're someone who needs constant motivation, you have to find other ways to pivot from that. You can't be watching 10 minutes of motivational, 30 minutes of motivational content every day, trying to hype yourself up for the hour of work you're going to do, and then just get off because you find it boring. Honestly, maybe it's not for you, right? Um, and that's always going to be the case with some people. Maybe it isn't for you. Maybe if you don't have a love for the game like some people do, you'll never get to the place that you want to get in that specific field. That doesn't matter. It just means you pivot. And if you're trying to survive on just pure motivation, either figure out your why and either make it stronger, or find something that works for you. Because eventually there's going to be a day where you just don't feel like doing it. A day will turn into a week will turn into a month. And before you know, you trying to survive on motivation is basically let your life slip through your fingers. So don't let that happen. Make sure you're keeping your eye on the ball. Mistake mistake 3 that I see a lot is the lack of risk taking. Now, I have high risk tolerance because I was a trader for so long. But I see a lot of you making your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grand a month, whatever it is, and you're scared to invest it to get ahead. Stop being a pussy. Lack of risk taking like there's something that I say to a lot of people, right? I'll phrase it like this. If you lose slowly, you're still losing. So that means if you get your 2 grand a month and it slowly whittles down into nothing, you're spending it on dumb shit, you're still losing. So you may as well spend it on the thing that might get you ahead. Even if it doesn't get you ahead, at least you are closer to where you were before. Because you've then tried something. You can pivot if it works. Or if it works, then you get ahead. And then you buy something else, and that might work. Then you pivot again to something else that might work. Or maybe that doesn't work. Okay, cool. Then you buy something else, and then that puts you ahead. Don't be a pussy. Risk. Just risk. Now, I'm not saying invest every single cent you have, but let's say you have 10 grand and somebody wants 6 grand and you believe this person can truly help you, spend the money. Why would you not spend the money on that? If that's going to get you, if that's a bridge, right? That's a bridge, right? There's a bridge between two islands. I actually got explained it like this recently. If if everything you want's on one island, right? And you're on the other island. Now you're on the other island between like a very rough sea. Now, are you going to spend your money either making your shitty island decent, okay, or trying to make it just livable, or are you going to spend all your money on the bridge to get to the nice island that has everything you want in your dream life? Essentially, the bridge is the money you're paying for mentorship of people, the access, the rooms. People don't understand how important a room or a network, somebody much further ahead of you looking down the path at you and giving you the steps, how important that can be. The people I've taught that understand that, they just go, okay, cool, I have 4 grand, this guy wants 2, I trust this guy, boom, and they fire it off. They didn't understand at the start why I was telling them to do that, but now they can look back, okay, and they can look back over a 6-12 month period and be like, holy shit, that got me that, which, and then that person introduced me to that, and then okay, cool, he taught me that, and then led me to learn this. Okay, that would have never happened. That door would have never opened. These other areas would have never opened if you were like so worried about holding on to your money that, which you can't even hold on to it anyways, because it's gonna go down anyways. It, like, again, losing slowly is still losing. At least these people have opened the doors, right? So I know it's kind of like a messy point. I made it very, very probably confusing. Now it's hard to convey the points a lot of the time, but hopefully that makes some sense in your brain. Just spend, make more. It's very simple. Now, hopefully you can go back over these points and basically inverse um, or reverse engineer these mistakes. By knowing the mistakes, you can then look the opposite way. So if for instance, mistake 1, shiny object syndrome, do everything inverse to shiny object syndrome. Don't change the niche, okay, or the business model. Stick with it. Become very deep in that subject. Become the best in it. Aim to be in the top percentile of that certain thing that you're interested in. Trying to survive off pure motivation. Figure out how to survive off pure discipline. Okay? Lack of risk taking. Start taking more risk. It's never going to be bad. It's never going to be a bad thing. Okay? Even if it is, you pivot and then you take more risk again and then it turns into a good thing. It's always the key. Don't worry about it. Just fire it off. You'll be fine. For me, my whole everything from when I started trading very young was all risk. I put in my paycheck every single week. I was working probably 40 hours a week, getting $500-$600 a week. I would pay my rent and things, and then I would just live on my computer. I would fire money into test. I would invest in softwares that would help me track trades. I would invest in whiteboards. I would invest in books. I would invest in all these things to the point where every single week for years, I had no money. Zero money in my bank account. I wouldn't be partying. I'm not doing everything, not doing anything, and I still had no money. And that was because that I understood that, okay, if I take that risk now, or I take this risk, it'll get me to where I want to be. Like, I don't want to be here forever. So in order for me to get over this, I have to risk. So I risked every single week, every single paycheck, every single dollar, people's birthdays, events, everything. And that was just taking calculated risk. This wasn't really stupid risk. I knew that I had confidence, extreme confidence in myself. And if I just took risk, that that would take me to the place that I want to go. Even now, I'm constantly taking risk. All the time, I'm taking calculated risk. A business might make me 5 grand a month, right? I'll spend 5 grand on one person's service in order to potentially make me 10 grand next month, because it just makes sense for me to take that risk. It's, for me, it would be like a 1 to 2 R, right? It's a good risk to reward ratio. You would take that risk, and that's how I look at everything. I try to take extreme risk almost in every area of my life. Hopefully, you can basically look over these points and kind of decode what I'm trying to say, and hopefully, you can use this for the good of your business, for the good of your life, and excel.